welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at family businesses, but not exactly how you might expect.
That's right. Not the,
The warm and fuzzy.
The warm and fuzzy, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're going deep into the data and looking at how those family ties actually affect a company's,
Performance.
Performance, exactly.
Bottom line, all that.
Yeah. And you've given me a really fascinating research paper that tackles this head on.
Yeah.
And focusing on this question of CEO succession.
Yeah.
What happens when a family member takes over? Does it help or hurt the company? This study from Denmark
interesting.
uses a really massive data set to give us some surprising answers.
Okay, so let's dive into this a little bit.
Okay.
What kind of businesses are we talking about here, and what did the researchers actually find?
Well, they looked at over 5,000 companies in Denmark.
Wow.
Tracking who took over as CEO when the previous CEO stepped down.
Okay.
It turns out that family businesses are even more common than you might think.
Really?
Not just your
mom and pops.
Your mom and pops, yeah, but
Across various industries.
across industries, yeah.
So I'm guessing keeping it in the family is pretty popular then.
You bet. Over a third of these companies,
Wow.
33.3% to be exact, chose a family member to be the new CEO.
Okay.
And among those family successions, children of the departing CEO were the most common successor.
Oh, wow.
Taking over in almost half the cases.
So it really is a common practice.
It really is. Very prevalent.
So how did they figure out if that family connection actually made a difference? Like how did they measure the success or lack thereof?
Well, it's there are so many other factors that could be at play. And this is where the study gets really interesting.
Okay.
They used a unique factor to try to isolate the true impact of family CEOs.
Okay.
And that was the gender of the outgoing CEO's firstborn child.
Hold on. The gender of their child.
Yeah.
How does that relate to?
It might seem random, but it's a very powerful tool for comparison.
Okay.
In Denmark, having a male firstborn made it significantly more likely, about 33% more likely, that a company would choose a family CEO.
That is surprising, especially for a country that's known for,
gender equality,
So, I mean, I'm assuming this is because sons are inherently better CEOs than daughters, right?
Of course not.
Okay.
What they were doing is they're using this firstborn gender factor to make sure they were comparing apples to apples when looking at family-led versus non-family-led companies.
I'm starting to see where this is going.
Yeah.
So it's about creating two groups that are similar in most ways except for this one thing.
Exactly. That's the idea, to isolate. So that they could, by comparing those two groups, the performance of those two groups, the researchers could get a clearer picture of whether having a family member as CEO actually made a difference.
So what did they find?
The results were pretty eye-opening.
Okay.
Companies that chose a family CEO saw a significant decline in their profitability compared to those who hired an unrelated CEO.
Really?
We're talking about a drop of at least 6 percentage points.
That's a big...
substantial difference. That can't be ignored.
So how do we know that decline is specifically because of the family connection? Like, how do we know that wasn't just some other factor?
Well, they were very thorough. They controlled for all kinds of other factors that could skew the results, like the company size, the industry they were in, even the overall economic climate.
So they really made sure that they were isolating the impact of having a family member.
Exactly.
At the helm.
At the helm.
And the negative effects still held up.
Yes. And they even checked for things like the timing of CEO departures, different accounting practices. The negative impact of family CEOs remained consistent.
I'm curious about these families themselves.
Yeah.
The study also mentioned some patterns within families. That influence whether or not they chose a family CEO, right?
Yes. They looked at things like...
Like what?
The number of children the CEO had, and even whether the CEO had been married multiple times.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What did they find there? Was it just the more kids, the more likely one will become CEO?
Well, to a certain extent, yes. They found that the more children the CEO had, the more likely they were to choose a family successor. But there's a limit to that trend. It seems that after a certain point, having even more children didn't increase the likelihood of family CEO.
Interesting. It's like there's a tipping point where too many
potential heirs.
Heirs makes it...
Not make it less likely, maybe because it creates too much competition.
Right.
Or...
complexity?
Complexity within the family.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what about multiple marriages?
Yeah.
I would think that would have much impact on CEO choices.
It gets messy.
Yeah.
The research actually found that family successions were less common if the outgoing CEO had been married.
Really? More than once.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because...
Yeah, maybe it has to do with...
Blended families,
the potential for conflict.
Competing interests. Yeah.
Or maybe it's just simply harder
to
maintain that kind of cohesive family identity and vision when there's been multiple marriages.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All of this makes you wonder about the motivations behind these choices.
Yeah.
Are families prioritizing family ties over the company's best interests?
Yeah.
Is it sentimentality?
Yeah.
Or is there something else going on?
It's a question we're going to unpack a little bit further as we dive deeper into this.
Awesome. Well, this is all super interesting.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface here.
Yeah, we have.
So stay tuned.
Yeah.
Because in the next part of this deep dive, we'll be exploring exactly where these family CEOs seem to struggle the most.
Right.
And what that means for the future of family businesses.
That's right.
So stick with us.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
How that emotional pull of family legacy can sometimes overshadow what's truly best for the business.
Yeah, I'm really starting to see how these CEO choices can have consequences far beyond just one family, one company.
This research suggests that the prevalence of family CEOs could actually have ripple effects on the entire economy.
Hold on. How does the performance of individual family businesses translate to something as big as...
Well, think about it. If family CEOs are, on average, less effective at leading their companies, then that can lead to slower growth, fewer jobs created, even lower returns for investors.
Right.
And when you multiply that across thousands of businesses, it starts to add up.
So these individual leadership choices can ultimately affect the economic health of a whole country.
Exactly.
Wow. That's a big deal.
The study's authors even suggest that this underperformance of family CEOs could contribute to a drag on something called total factor productivity.
Total factor productivity.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that term.
No. Okay, well, in simple terms, total factor productivity is a measure of how efficiently a company uses its resources. Things like labor, capital, technology. The higher the total factor productivity, the more output a company can generate from its inputs.
So it's basically a measure of how well a company is using its resources to create value.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
And the study suggests that having more professional, non-family CEOs could actually boost total factor productivity across the board.
Interesting.
Leading to a more robust and efficient economy.
That's a pretty compelling argument for family businesses to be more strategic about their leadership choices.
Yeah.
It's not just about their own success, but potentially about contributing to the overall economic well-being.
To the greater good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, before we jump to conclusions here, let's talk a bit more about how the researchers arrived at these findings.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that they used this firstborn child gender variable to isolate the impact of family CEOs.
It's
a clever approach.
It is.
But I admit I'm still a bit hazy on how it actually works.
Yeah, it's a statistical technique called instrumental variable analysis. And it's often used in research when you can't directly observe a cause and effect relationship.
Gotcha.
Because there might be other hidden factors at play.
Yeah, so in this case, we can't just assume that a family CEO is the sole reason a company is performing well or poorly.
Exactly.
There are lots of other things.
Yeah, it could be
the overall economic climate.
Influencing the company's success.
Changes in consumer demand.
Yeah.
Or even just plain luck.
Right.
But we do know that.
But with this instrumental variable,
yeah.
the gender of the firstborn, we have a factor that's somewhat random and unlikely to be directly related to the company's performance.
Okay. And we know that having a male firstborn makes a family CEO more likely.
Right.
So how does that help isolate the effect
of family? By comparing companies where the firstborn is male to those where the firstborn is female, the researchers can control for those other potential influences. And get a clearer picture of the true impact of having a family CEO.
It's like using this seemingly unrelated factor to create two groups.
That's the idea.
That are similar in most ways, except for the likelihood of having a family CEO.
And what they found is that even after controlling for all those other variables, the negative impact of family CEOs on profitability remains significant. They estimated a decline of at least 6 percentage points, which is even larger than what previous studies using less rigorous methods had found.
So this approach adds more weight to the argument that family ties can sometimes hinder a company's performance.
Yeah, it's not just
a hunch
or an anecdote. It's backed up by solid
data analysis. And it highlights
the importance of using sophisticated statistical techniques to really understand complex phenomena like this.
Yeah. We can't rely on intuition.
Or
simple.
Or just simple
comparisons. You need to dig deeper. To uncover the truth. Speaking of digging deeper. The study also looked at specific areas. Where family CEOs seem to struggle.
That's right.
It wasn't just a blanket underperformance.
It wasn't just
a blanket underperformance.
Yeah, where did the negative impact of family CEOs was particularly pronounced in industries where you might think strong leadership would be absolutely crucial. Fast-growing industries, sectors with highly skilled and highly paid employees, and industries where companies rely heavily on imports, requiring them to navigate the complexities
of international markets.
Those are all areas where experience, specialized knowledge, and a willingness to take risks are likely to be essential. It makes you wonder if family CEOs are sometimes less equipped to handle those demands compared to leaders brought in from outside the family.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. I wonder if it could be.
If they're fair.
That family CEOs are more
risk-averse? Because they feel...
Perhaps because they feel a stronger
sense of responsibility to preserve... The family legacy?
To preserve the family legacy? Or maybe they're just less willing to make
bold decisions.
Those bold decisions.
That could disrupt status quo.
The status quo.
Within the family.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's simply a matter of experience.
Right.
External CEOs often come in with...
they've got a wider range of experience.
Having worked
in different companies.
Different industries. They've been exposed to different approaches. And have a broader perspective on what it takes to succeed.
Good point.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about family members being inherently bad leaders.
It's more about recognizing that certain industries might require a different set of skills and experiences that are more likely to be found outside the family. This all makes me think about the role of the board of directors.
They're supposed
to provide oversight. And guidance. Making sure the CEO...
the CEO is acting in the best interest.
In the best interest of the company. But in family businesses.
The
board can sometimes be dominated by
family members. Which could create some tricky dynamics.
Absolutely.
Having
a board filled with relatives might make it harder to provide objective feedback. Or challenge the CEO's decisions. Especially if it's their nephew.
Especially if it's their nephew. Or niece.
Or niece at the helm.
At the helm.
It's like the old saying, blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
Family loyalty is a powerful force.
Powerful force.
And it can sometimes cloud judgment.
Cloud judgment.
Even when it comes to making important business decisions.
Even when it comes to making those important business decisions.
And that's precisely why having a diverse and independent board is so crucial.
It is so crucial.
For family businesses.
For family businesses.
It's about creating a system.
Yeah, a system of
checks.
Have checks and balances.
Balance.
So that ensures accountability. And encourages sound decision-making. Even when it means
going against family ties.
So
a mix of family members and outside experts. Who can bring different perspectives.
Bring those different...
And provide unbiased...
feedback.
And provide that unbiased feedback. Yeah, exactly. The study actually found that family CEOs were more likely to underperform.
Yeah.
In companies where the board was dominated by family members.
Yeah, it suggests that.
So it really suggests that a strong,
independent board
can
help mitigate
some of the risks associated with
having a family member as CEO.
It's
like having a neutral third party. Who can help the family navigate those complex emotional dynamics. And make decisions that are truly in the best interest.
Those decisions
of the business.
That are truly in the best interest of the business.
This research has really shed light on this delicate dance.
It's a delicate dance.
That family businesses have to perform. It's a reminder that while family ties can be a source of strength and resilience, they can also create blind spots
that need to be addressed.
Now,
before we wrap up this part of the discussion, I'm curious about one more thing. The study also found that the performance gap between family CEOs and outside CEOs was much smaller. In industries where family businesses were already very common.
That's interesting.
What do you make of that?
That's an intriguing finding. It suggests that in certain sectors, there might be the cultural acceptance of family leadership. That makes
it more viable.
Perhaps there's just a stronger sense of trust. Or a shared understanding of how
family
businesses operate.
Which makes it easier for family CEOs.
To succeed.
Or maybe in those industries, the specific skills and knowledge needed for success.
It's the skills and knowledge are more easily passed down.
Within families. Making it
less of a disadvantage. To have a family CEO. It's definitely an area that warrants further exploration.
It highlights the importance of context.
It does.
When evaluating impact
of family CEOs.
What
works in one industry might not work
in another. And what works for one family business
might not work family business.
Might not work for another.
It's a reminder that there's no one-size-fits-all solution. When it comes to
leadership and succession
planning
in family businesses. It's about finding the right approach. For each individual
circumstance. Taking into account the unique dynamics of both the family and the industry.
That they're operating in. This has been a truly enlightening discussion.
It has been.
We've gained a deeper understanding of the complexities of family businesses and the impact of their leadership choices. Now in the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore some practical strategies that family businesses can use.
Some practical strategies
to navigate these
challenges.
And set themselves up for success for generations to come.
That's right.
So we've spent the last two segments really digging into this research on family businesses. And the surprising findings. About CEO succession. Now I'm curious about the practical side of things. Like, what can families actually do with this information to help their business thrive?
That's the
Like, what are...
That's the key question, isn't it?
Yeah.
knowledge is only as good as its application.
Right.
And the good news is
the takeaways.
This study provides some very concrete takeaways for family businesses.
Okay, let's hear them. What are the most important?
Both big and small.
Actions families can take.
I think the biggest takeaway is the need for a serious wake-up call when it comes to succession planning.
Okay.
Too many families simply assume that a relative, whether it's the eldest child or the most experienced family member, will automatically be the best CEO.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, that can be a recipe for trouble.
It's like we've been saying, sometimes the best person for the job isn't someone you're related to.
Family businesses need to start thinking about succession early.
Okay.
Not waiting.
Not when.
Till the current CEO is about to retire.
They're on their way out.
Yeah. And they need a formal, structured process.
Okay.
That's as objective as possible.
So it's about treating CEO selection like any other crucial hiring decision.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
Define clear criteria for what makes a good CEO.
Yeah.
The skills, the experience,
okay,
temperament, leadership style.
Right.
That aligns with the company's goals.
Right.
Then evaluate all potential candidates against those criteria.
Okay.
Whether they're family or not. No one gets a free pass just because of their last name.
That must be tough for some families to swallow.
It is.
And getting outside help.
Yeah.
Could be beneficial in these situations.
Not always easy to set aside those ingrained family dynamics.
Right.
That's why bringing in consultants who specialize in family business succession can be incredibly valuable.
Okay.
They can help create that objective framework, guide those difficult conversations, and even coach potential successors, family or non-family, to prepare them for leadership.
Having that neutral, experienced third party can help families navigate the emotional minefield.
It can.
And make decisions based on what's truly best.
For the business.
Those decisions that are truly in the best interests of the business.
It's not just about choosing the CEO either.
Well,
this research also highlights the need for family businesses to professionalize their overall management practices.
That's right.
What do you mean by that?
Things like strategic planning, performance measurement, talent development. These are all crucial for any business, but often overlooked in family-run companies.
Gotcha.
It's easy to fall into the trap of, we've always done it this way. But that's not a sustainable approach in today's rapidly changing world.
So it's about bringing in that outside expertise.
Yeah, whether
it's through consultants
or
independent board members, experienced executives who can bring fresh perspectives and best practices. Don't be afraid to learn from those who have been there and done that. No matter how successful a family business has been in the past, there's always room.
Yeah, there's always one to improve.
Yeah.
All this talk about performance and best practices makes me wonder, though, about the emotional side of things. For a lot of families, their business is deeply intertwined.
It is.
With their identity, their legacy. How do you balance with the need to make those tough, objective business decisions?
That's a crucial point. And one that often gets overlooked. Family businesses are about so much more than just
profits and losses.
Profits and losses, right?
They're built on shared history, values, a sense of purpose that extends beyond
the bottom line.
The bottom line. And these things need to be acknowledged and respected.
So how do you honor that legacy while also ensuring the business's future success? It seems like a delicate balancing act.
It is. And open communication within the family is key. Create a space where everyone feels safe to share their hopes, their fears, their vision for the future of the business. Treat it as a vital part of the business strategy, not just an emotional add-on.
I like that. Communication strategy is just as important as financial ones.
But
sometimes
even
good intentions aren't enough. Families can get stuck in old patterns. Old resentment.
In those old patterns, old resentments.
Yeah, what do you do then?
That's where having a skilled facilitator can be invaluable.
Okay. Like what? Someone who can guide the discussions, keep things productive, make sure everyone's voice is heard. It could be a trusted advisor, a family therapist, or even a family member who can remain neutral and help mediate those tricky conversations.
This has been a real eye-opener for me.
Yeah, it has.
I'm seeing family businesses in a whole new light.
Yeah.
It's not just about preserving tradition.
Yeah.
It's about evolution.
Of evolution.
And adaptation. And making tough choices.
And making
greater good.
For the family.
For the greater good.
And the business.
Of the family and the business.
This deep dive has certainly challenged some of my assumptions.
I hope so.
And I hope our listener feeling the same way.
Listener is feeling
clear
that family businesses are a vital part
of
our economy. Their success is crucial.
It is.
For everyone.
They represent the entrepreneurial spirit, the drive to build something lasting, the power.
The power shared
values, and by learning from research like this, by being open to new ideas and approaches. Family businesses can continue to innovate, grow, and make a positive impact on the world.
That's a great note to end on.
Yeah, it is.
To all the family business owners.
To all those family business owners.
To leaders.
Future successors out there.
Future successors.
Keep asking those tough questions.
Keep asking.
Keep learning.
And keep building those legacies.
Keep learning. Keep building those legacies.
This has been The Deep Dive.
It has.
We'll be back soon with another deep dive.
Yes, we will.
Into a fascinating topic.
Another fascinating topic.
Until then, stay curious.
Stay curious.